Bills fans are absolutely livid with Brandon Beane as the trade deadline has passed and the Bills did absolutely nothing. Hello everyone, I'm Josh Schreiber and I am absolutely furious right now that the Buffalo Bills at the trade deadline did not one move. You watching this video, you did just as much as Brandon Beane did during the trade deadline. So congratulations. Congratulations to you at home, sitting on your couch, lying in bed, wherever you are right now. You are officially an NFL GM, or at least capable of being one, because you did nothing, and neither did Brandon Beane. And this is all I have to say.
Doing nothing is crazy. I swear doing nothing is crazy. I'm losing my mind.
Well, Joe's McFly of John Boy Media said it best. Doing nothing is absolutely crazy. Now, if you came here to hear someone reason out why this deadline and doing nothing is actually the right decision, I'm sorry, but you came to the wrong place. I cannot fathom that the Bills did not make a single move at this deadline. This, of all years, was one of the years that the Bills had to do something. I don't care if it was a couple of mid-tier guys, a couple of guys that, aren't going to move the needle on their own, but will provide some juice in the aggregate. They did not trade for anyone, not a single player, and I cannot believe it right now. The reason why I'm taking so long to record this video is because I just sat there for 30 minutes waiting for something to come in. I just couldn't believe that they wouldn't do anything. And they're just toying with Josh Allen's prime like they have every year. Like there's no timing. They're hogging these draft picks. What is the point? You need to make a move. You have the tiebreaker against the Kansas City Chiefs. The AFC division is wide freaking open, and you do nothing. It makes no sense whatsoever. The Colts go out, they trade their future. They trade 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner because they are not going to sit on their butts and wait for something good to happen to them. They're going to go out and let things and take matters into their own hands. The Colts have not had injury problems this year. They have less reason to go out and trade than the Bills do. And we see the Bills go out and not do a single thing. It makes zero sense. There has to be some sort of reasoning for Brandon Beane. I don't understand the reasoning. I think the Bills think they're better than they are. The reason why I've been so chill this season has been because I've been saying to myself, they're going to replace guys like Michael Hoyt and Ed Oliver who are out for the entire season. Their entire defense has been terrible for most of the year. I get it. They look good against the Chiefs, but they match up well against the Chiefs. If they can play nickel most of the game, they are going to look good. That is what they did against the Chiefs. That is when they are most successful, and that is why their defense looked so good. When they're playing a team like the Patriots, when they're playing a team like the Colts, like even the Ravens when Lamar Jackson is healthy, they cannot afford to not have depth at the defensive line position. They cannot afford to have Jordan Phillips be getting real playing time. They cannot afford to have Jordan Poyer as one of their starting safeties at this stage of his career. And they cannot afford to assume that Maxwell Harrison and Cole Bishop are going to be their saviors. It is absolutely ludicrous to go into a season as a Super Bowl contending team, a team that arguably has the best chances to go to the Super Bowl of anyone in the AFC, to sit on your hands and do absolutely nothing. I cannot believe it. Now, while we're here, I got a little carried away, but if you are not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. At least try to make my day better. We're going to have plenty of Bills content for you as the season goes on. They're still going to be in the race for the Super Bowl, but they're making it hard on themselves to really be competitive. And let's see where this deadline kind of got a little bit exciting. Just before the deadline struck, we see this from Tim Graham, a member of The Athletic. Keep an eye on Deebo Samuel and or Von Miller to Buffalo from Washington. These were very reasonable possibilities that the Bills might go after Deebo and Von Miller. Deebo is exactly what the Bills like to do on offense. A yak guy. I just made a video about it. If you haven't seen that video, go ahead and watch it. It's the most recent video that we have other than this one. And Von Miller, who knows the defense. Sean McDermott famously does not like bringing in new guys to the defense. And this was just an easy solution to give you some depth, to give you another guy that can make a nothing play turn into a splash play. They didn't get it done. We don't know what Washington wanted. We don't know what the Bills were willing or not willing to give up. Whatever. I can live with the Bills not making this trade. I cannot live with the Bills not making a trade. That is what is really pissing me off right now. Now, what did teams around the league do to address themselves? Well, we know the Bills were in on receiver, and two receivers in particular. One of them was Rashid Shaheed, and this was a heavy price for a guy in Shaheed who is a rental, a 4th and a 5th round pick, which some people have said kind of is equivalent to an earlier 3rd round pick. Do the Bills regret not making this move? I don't know. You could argue it here or there, whatever. They don't make the move. They don't get the vertical deep threat that Bills fans have been clamoring for, and to be fair, the Bills probably could use. The other receiver that the Bills were heavily linked to, and that it was confirmed the Bills made offers on, was Jakobi Meyers. Jakobi Meyers for a 4th round and a 6th round pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Another guy that the Bills could have had, but did not pull the trigger on. Again, not that crazy of a price. I am not in the business of hogging draft picks at this point. The Bills need to go all in. I have said that all year long for the past couple of years. You got to make a deal where you can make a deal. They miss out on these two receivers and a guy that just flashes, someone I'll get into later. The big splash was this one. According to Dan Mitchell, who has been right about a lot of things in the Bills circles, he does have sources. He said, I'm hearing Beane is/was after Garrett Wilson. Deebo is the backup plan. Well, the Bills obviously did not get Garrett Wilson, and Diana Rossini answered why that was. AFC East teams reached out to the Jets about potential deals, but New York was reluctant to trade with division rivals. They later said that the Bills did not have a chance at getting Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson was untouchable, according to many significant sources. So we can't blame Brandon Beane on that one, not able to land Garrett Wilson. But there were plenty of other guys to be had, plenty of other guys he could have made an offer on, but he ultimately did not get the job done, and that is what matters. And one guy said it best, and that is Greg Thompson of Cover One Buffalo. The haters tried to say Beane didn't just didn't have it anymore. The haters said he couldn't swing a big all-in trade, and they were correct. Great call by the haters. So that, of course, a meme, but Greg is right. The haters have been talking crap about Brandon Beane. I have been one to defend him. You guys in the comments, You were right. Brandon Beane did not have the guts to make a big all-in trade. At the end of the day, you are remembered on your wins and losses. If the Bills went out, traded multiple first-round picks for a guy like Brian Thomas, for a guy like Jalen Waddle, I guess that one's probably more unrealistic because he's in division, a guy like Trey Hendrickson. If the Bills go on a run, thanks to one of those players, nobody gives a flying bleep. I'm gonna censor that last word. What you gave up in a trade if you are able to get one of those big pieces that lead you to a Super Bowl. This is a common thing. The teams that win are often teams that go all in at the deadline. We saw it with the Rams back in 2021. They were the F them picks team where they just traded first round picks. They got Von Miller. They got a couple of other guys on defense to shore things up. And the Bills now are in a scary, scary position with injuries on the back end, injuries on the D-line, and no answers. And this is another very true point. Very disappointing Beane was not able to make a move. In a year where the AFC is wide open, Ed Oliver is out until January at least. Hoyt is out the entire year, maybe into next year, and the wide receiver room has struggled. It really did feel like a move needed to be made somewhere. And for me, it would have been okay if they had not made a move at receiver. I would have totally understood it. I trust the offense. Not making a move on defense is malpractice. The fact that you are sticking with this group that has struggled mightily against legitimate offenses is terrifying. I do not understand what they're going to do. If they have any more injury troubles whatsoever, they are screwed. There is no other way around it. They're completely screwed if they have any other injury troubles. I don't know what the Bills have to do, but they have to do something. And let's start with one place that I think the Bills have to start with, and it is signing Asante Samuel, a free agent from the Chargers. He had a spinal fusion procedure, fully cleared to return by the NFL, according to Ian Rappaport. I would expect him to be signed shortly now that the trade deadline is over. Teams did not get their guys that they wanted. Asante Samuel Jr. is a legit player. Hopefully he is healthy. I'm sure he will have some tryouts. But the Bills need to be on the front step. The Bills cleared cap space by restructuring Teron Johnson yesterday. I don't understand. I understand that they're making that cap space just in case they're able to get something done. This was the biggest tease I think Bills fans have had in as long as I've been following the team. To not make a move this year is outlandish. It just doesn't make sense. We saw what the Amari Cooper trade did for them last year, and Amari Cooper was not all that good. The fact that they didn't do anything is malpractice, and Brandon Beane has some serious answering to do. I am fuming, and I'll end you guys with this. Doing nothing is crazy.
Doing nothing is crazy. I swear doing nothing is crazy. I am losing my